So that was just a little intro of what the concept and intention of Parking Day is to try to get more human-centered, community-centered activations in our downtown, as small as they might be, but if they're connected to larger orchestrations, they can have larger impact. But right now we call our downtown the big empty, and that's the kind of the concept that we've been playing with around a downtown Pontiac summer youth program, and getting these sites here more open to community engagement. And with that, I'm going to go to Blair, who's joining us from the Crofoot across the street, and he also owns this building that we are that our studio is located in. And he'll tell us a bit about Pontiac's
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yeah.
Can you hear me, Monica?
Yeah.
Monica?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. So you want me to discuss Pontiac and the Crofoot and placemaking downtown Pontiac?
Yes.
In a nutshell, Pontiac is typical of the cities in Michigan, not Detroit or Grand Rapids, but across Michigan, there's a bunch of middle-sized cities, and they were organized by Europeans, where native people had their paths, and native paths always came to water, and where paths hit water, that's where Europeans settled. And Pontiac is very much like the other cities in Michigan. It's got about 60,000 people. Unlike other cities, though, we're in a very affluent suburban area of Detroit. Oakland County, which Pontiac is the county seat of, used to be before this recession, the Great Recession 10 years ago, was the 4th or 5th most affluent county in America. And Pontiac was poor. Pontiac was bypassed for reasons that I put the finger right on: racism. For the last 25 years, the superintendent of the county was a man that rode anti-busing to office. And the Black Democratic leadership of Pontiac didn't trust him, and with good reason. And so Oakland County has grown, and Pontiac has been bypassed. And in the 1960, before all this happened, Pontiac was rich enough to participate in urban renewal, which was a great disaster. And they put a ring around downtown so the traffic from the south side could get to the north side, where there's some large factories, and they bypassed downtown. And when we came into Pontiac in 1988 to open up a big new age music venue in an old historic theater, we were the only business downtown. And that was 1991 when we opened. And we brought 5,000 young people downtown every week for 3 or 4 years, and that really began the renaissance of Pontiac. And today, Pontiac has had a lot of growth, and what we sort of inventoried is we've really got the makings of a unique city. And I can list 5 or 6 things that truly qualify as placemaking, things that are distinct, have their own clientele, that bring people to town, that are not chains, that are unique and actually very cool. It consists of an electronic dance club called Electricity, the Crofoot Ballroom, where we have indie rock and had musicians from all over the world, as well as local musicians, and have wonderful programming of unusual events like Creepy Cheapy, which is one of the big Halloween parties in Michigan. and we celebrate local artists who imitate their favorite band and they play their covers. But in addition to that, we have Erebus, which is a haunted house, and it's the Guinness Book of Record world largest haunted house. And this family that created Erebus has now created an escape room in one of the historic buildings, a big escape room, and it's very well done. And now they just bought a month ago a daycare that has moved someplace else. And in the daycare, they're opening up a funky museum. And one of the guys bought somebody's collection of funeral artifacts, coffins, all the kind of paraphernalia that historically are associated with funerals. And we've got a few black clothing stores. And when I look over time, in 1991, we were the only business downtown. Everything else was shuttered. We've risen and we've fallen. We opened up a historic theater in 1993. It got shuttered. It got reopened just 2 years ago with about $10 million put into it. But the people running it don't know how to run a 900-person theater with seats. But it's sitting there and something will happen. And so the big thing in downtown Pontiac is when they did urban renewal, they built what's called the Phoenix Center right on the main drag, which was the Saginaw Indian Trail that went from the foot of the Detroit River up to Saginaw Bay. And Michiganians look at this as their state, and this is Saginaw Bay right here. And the native trail went from here down to the Detroit River. And native people walked up and down it on this 16-inch path, and now it's called Woodward, which is the most prominent street in Michigan. And in 1980, the city of Pontiac, because of massive planning, they put the Phoenix Center there, which is a 2,500 car parking garage with a plaza on top with a big, beautiful stage. And next to it were two General Motors buildings, which for 20 years filled all the parking every day. But General Motors has reorganized itself and they no longer use it. Those two buildings are empty, virtually empty. And so that's the potential. What do you do with the Phoenix Center, which is across the street from a transportation center, which is 550,000 square feet of empty Class B real estate in a city that's never going to get changed because the traffic bypasses it on the loop, and which already has the beginnings of placemaking. That's where we are today in a city that finally has gotten rid of the racist county leadership. The county of Oakland is now Democratic, and a man that's been elected is a guy that is openly gay. He's from Ferndale, a former mayor, and he's open to everything. And he's a wonderful guy that is into diversity and everything that means. So we're poised as we're stuck in this pandemic with all kinds of potential. And that's where Pontiac is today from my perspective.